Previously on My Hero Academia, as Deku arrived on the battlefield in the floating UA, he saw the carnage that Tomura Shigaraki, possessed by All for One, had wrought several of his friends down. Bakugo seemingly on death's door. Deku's rage started to overtake him, but Lumillion was able to pull him back from the brink, despite Shigaraki trying his best to coax Deku into a compromising situation. Deku then unleashed the power of the second holder of One for All, Gear Shift, that can apparently change the momentum of anything the person touches. But thanks to the boost from One for All, it has now become a devastating strike. A strike that All for One recognizes all too well. There seems to be some deep history between All for One and the second holder of One for All. What is their story? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, and it's a flashback. The day All for One defeated the second holder of One for All. It's My Hero Academia, number 369. Nice. A chain of events across the ages. We see a ruined cityscape. All for One in his younger days, taking the second holder by the neck, who is bloody and bruised. They're on a battlefield littered with bodies. I think we have a narration from All for One saying, "Strange, how can this be? Your meta ability." And as All for One holds the second holder up, something approaches from behind All for One. Something that levitates, then increases its speed. But All for One manages to block it, with tears streaming down his eyes though. Your meta ability was only meant to work on small objects, never more than a lackluster pea shooter. It would be laughable to describe your actions as any sort of meaningful resistance. Such was your insignificance, you unruly insect. That's all you were meant to be. And you see the holder before he dies, the second holder. He smiles, despite the fact that he's about to die. I guess because he knows he passed on the ability to someone else. Though he might die, there is another. And you pick up in present day as Deku, who has that same ability, but it's been boosted 100-fold, strikes out at Shigaraki, as All for One within him thinks and sees the visages of his brother and the second holder. He thinks, how? How is it I can see them now? Yeah, he sees the visages of them, just as he's struck to the ground by Deku with a massive amount of force. As Deku continues to use the ability Quirk Gear Shift. Much like the other meta abilities, Gear Shift strength grew alongside One for All. Its scope broadened, allowing it to apply to more diverse targets and function right down to the cellular level. What? I mean, accelerating cells? Huh. Then there's the pure, simple might built up within One for All. A fist imbued with these two overlapping powers. Gears, like the ability to change direction of, is it just himself or other people? Because that actually would explain how All Might was constantly able to just change his trajectory in midair and stuff. But Deku goes rocketing in. Shigaraki manages to gain his footing before he hits the ground as Deku approaches. Fists imbued with these two overlapping powers can warp the very laws governing reality. Excuse me? Okay, yeah, we've definitely entered into crazy territory if that's what his ability has become. Oh man, we were saying that Deku was gonna have to be some kind of broken to take on Shigaraki, and here it is. As Deku goes in with a Detroit smash. Quintuple! Just strikes into Shigaraki with such a massive force, creating a deeper and deeper crater into the ground. You just hear the echoing of the smash, just smash, 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 smash. So it's like it kind of doubles or quadruples the hit. I don't know, I still feel like I don't completely understand it. And as Deku bounces away from the impact, he goes rocketing back towards Shigaraki. He's not trying to let up, but Shigaraki thinks to himself, a lighter blow than before. This time it didn't have that glow he'd built up. Oh, the Fajin. Perhaps it's too fast to perceive, but based on the trajectory of that last hit, I can surmise the angle and timing of the next one, and know where But as Shigaraki goes to strike at Deku, who goes rocketing in, Deku stops in midair, completely avoiding Shigaraki's attack, as Deku uses the ability Low Gear. So he was able to slow his momentum. The second tells Deku, Gear Shift. Adjust speed without abiding by the laws of inertia. Shouldn't you know that already? All for one? Okay. That's wild. Honestly, it kind of makes me think of Deku's mom ability. But she can just make things float. Of complete mastery over momentum. That's wild. But Shigaraki is undeterred. He goes twisting in the air saying, in that case I'll... But suddenly, I think there's like a smoke screen that forms around Deku. Shigaraki screams, pathetic. But suddenly Shigaraki is pulled up into the air by Deku's Black Whip ability. Shigaraki thinks to himself, from above? As Deku is just up there, winding up this major attack. Like he is getting that shit ready. But Deku's voice is kind of shaky though. This might be taking a toll on his body. As Deku thinks, after adjusting my timing, I can use the Force Danger Sense to detect the threat, and the sixth smoke screen to obscure his vision. Right, the sixth ability was smoke screen, that was what it was. Then the seventh float provides some instant height, and the fifth Black Whip catches him unaware, so I can bind and yank him towards me. Finally, that earlier quintuple attack gave me a refill on the third's Fajin. For another blast of overdrive, courtesy of the second's gear shift. It is literally, by our powers combined, we will kick your ass. And the second tells all for one, our meta abilities were never what you should have been wary of. Rather, you should fear the reason why someone chooses to use their gifts. True power resides within an individual's intent. This is why people call them quirks. That's actually interesting. This is why people call them quirks. It is the intent, the quirk of a person. I like that explanation. And as Deku is just radiating power, he says, this time, I'm giving it everything I've got. And was it Banjo? I think it was Banjo that Deku remembers hearing the words, you're going to be the one to complete one for all. As Deku cries out, all for one, you don't get to hurt anyone else. As we see Mirio taking Hado to safety, Mirko leaning up against a wall with what she's got left essentially, next to Sun Eater who's laid out. They see a brief glimpse of Edgeshot, who I'm not sure what's still going on with him, and Best Jeanist next to a passed out Bakugo. As Shigaraki cries out, silence you insects, you maggots! As Deku just smashes into him with all of his power. There's just like a massive hole opened up in Shigaraki. But the first holder of One for All says, we're resonating. One for all with all for one. And all for one with one for all. All for one says, I can see my brother. The young man with the bean eyes was correct. The course of this battle, the chain of events leading to this moment, has shaken the balance of their supposed meddling. Oh, the bean-eyed man. He's talking about Lumillion. The second holder tells Deku, here comes your moment, boy. Don't forget what Shimura said. You can't take it easy just yet. Giving everything you've got, you say. And that business about quirks, surely you jest. Oh wait, no, I think it's Shigaraki saying this, or all for one. Giving everything you've got, you say, and that business about quirks, surely you jest. I haven't used a single quirk yet. I've yet to brandish the true value of this body. They're to blame. Wretched, unsightly Eraserhead and his merry brat, and this tomb of theirs, their sneaky, ramshackled ploy to divide us, the whole sequence of events that led to this moment. Whoa, what the heck? It's almost like is that the search ability? What's going on? It's like Shigaraki's like activating something or just resonating? What is going on? Deku sees this and is caught off guard. Eraserhead questions, another trick up his sleeve? As All for One thinks, no, not yet. Indeed, Yoichi. The entire chain of events up to now will inevitably spell out victory or defeat for all. Not yet. Victory is still within my grasp. And then we cut to the roided out spinner. Like, damn, he's so big, he's so jacked. Like an absolute unit. I was actually waiting for this moment because I knew the kind of halfway point for that fight was going to be the moment we cut away to something else. Because, like, who tells a story where it's just like the main fight finishes and then we cut to all the other fights? No. At some point, we're gonna pick up what's going on with Spinner, pick up with what's going on with Toga, pick up with what's going on with Dabi, and then All for One's original body. Like, we need to, like, finish all that other stuff first. So, alright, this means we're officially heading into the end game. We're winding things down. Things are about to just start finishing up one after the other. And I'm fascinated. I'm interested to see where this goes. But I've honestly loved the whole theme going on here, because it's very similar to My Hero Academia Vigilantes, or Illegals, or whatever you call it, whose theme had like a lot of involvement by All for One going on too, was that a quirk can grow, it can evolve, but it's the person who makes a quirk valuable. All for One finds value through quirks just based off of, oh, okay, that's interesting, I'll take that. Oh, your quirk doesn't seem to be anything interesting, whatever. Stuff along those lines, which is very typical for a lot of people. But the fun thing about a lot of series, especially in terms of anime, because with a lot of American stuff, when someone has a crappy ability, they're the joke. But in terms of anime, sometimes the crappy ability being turned into something of value is the biggest selling point. Like, take One Piece. One of the most fun things about that is people have these weird and wacky abilities, but it's how they use them that's the most interesting thing. And the ability to stretch has been seen in so many other instances and iterations, but when you get to Luffy, he does it in a way that nobody else really does it. And that all comes from creativity. It's literally the idea of where there's a will, there's a way. Make lemonades out of lemons. If you have an ability that doesn't seem all that great or important, find a way to make it great or important. Think of applications for your ability that nobody else has ever thought of. Don't just roll over and be like, oh, well, this ability is nothing big. It could be. With a little time, effort, and ingenuity, anything is possible. It's almost kind of like teamwork personified into one being in Deku. I like the vibe of it. I just really like the vibe of it. And again, it's gonna look great in animation. Like, Horikoshi just was going off with the art. And the way he's just been showing Deku with the glowing from the eyes, I feel like it's just always been a thing of Horikoshi's art just looking so fabulous and so good and so beautiful. Only time this man has ever slipped is when he falls behind deadlines and has to hand in rough sketches, and even then the rough sketches are beautiful. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. How did you feel about this massive strike? Should it have been the finishing blow, or are you glad that it wasn't? Are you interested to see what happens next? All for One has called out that if it wasn't for Eraserhead, he'd be completely dominating here. So will he take out Eraserhead? And what has he done? What has he activated? What has he set in motion? Are we about to see the villain's true final strike? Again, let me know. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.